All right, we're still working on radicals here, but today's lesson, definitely going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to be adding and subtracting radicals. And so let's look at our first example. And you can see here we have, every problem you had before this, it was just one radical and you were just, doing some stuff to simplify it. Now we have a couple of them, and this could either be an addition sign or a subtraction sign in between them. This is about as easy as it gets, this first one, but we need to talk about the concept. So what's going on here is it's just like if this was, here, let me make another example real quick. What if this was 5x minus 2x? Well, then we all know that would be 3x. 5x minus 2x is 3x. That's how radicals work too. When you're trying to add or subtract two things that have radicals, they have to be the same radical in order to combine them. So 5 root, and even listen to the way my voice goes here, 5 root 3 minus 2 root 3 is 3 root 3. Done. Yeah, that was an easy one, but that's the whole idea. Okay, they're going to get a little more interesting, but the concept stays the same. Do not try to combine two of these things with addition or subtraction unless under the radical is the same number. But what makes these interesting is that, yeah, this is a 2 and this is an 8, so you can't do it. But we go back to our last lesson, and if we have a number like 8, we try to break it down. We take this thing first and simplify it, and maybe eventually it will match this, and we can then combine them. You obviously can't break down root 2. There's no pairs in there to do anything with, so we're going to rewrite that. We're going to write 3 root 2, but then here we have minus 5, and then 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. I mean, you can come off to the side and go like this if you want to, but small numbers like that, it's fine if you just look at it and know that it's that. Alright, so it's a square root problem, so for every 2 of the same thing, it gets to escape from the radical. So now we have 3 root 2 minus, now there was already a 5 sitting here, and now these two 2's are going to escape and join that 5 as 1, 2. And then the other 2 that was, this 2 right here, that just has to stay inside there. So we get that. I'm going to do it again. That's 3 root 2 minus 10 root 2. Just multiplying those numbers together, right? 5 times 2 is 10. And look what happened now. We have root 2 and we have root 2, which is what this whole lesson's about. This part right here is the review from the last couple of lessons of just simplifying radicals, taking a square root of 8, breaking it down so that you can make that number smaller. But now we can kind of see the reason why we'd want to do that, because this now matches that. So we have 3 root 2 minus 10 root 2 is negative 7 root 2. Done. Nothing too stressful there. Let's do another one. Got a couple more for you. All I'm doing here, same concept, I'm just cranking it up a little bit. We got just bigger numbers in here. We want to assume that if we break this down and we break this down, what's left inside of the radicals will match. Doesn't always work out that way. It's possible that we won't actually be able to combine these two things together, but that's what we're hoping for. That's what will make it fun, is if this ends up being the same as that. So let's start with breaking down 200. So 2, 2, 2, and then 5 and 5. So we now have a pair of 2's. This is all square root still, so we have a pair of 2's and we have a pair of 5's. So take your time on this. Don't, you can definitely make some errors if you're going too fast. We already had a 5 that was out here. And now what's going to happen is a 2 is going to come out of there and another 5. So it's going to actually be the 5 that was already there times 2 times 5 and then square root 2. One more time, let's make that clear, okay? This 5, already there. I just rewrote it. The pair of 2's escapes the radical as a 2. The pair of 5's escapes the radical as a 5. This guy right here didn't have a partner, so it had to stay inside of the radical. Eventually we'll multiply all that together. It's just 5 times 2 times 5. It's going to be 50. But let's work left to right here and kind of work on this a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll clean it up for the next step. So we also need to do 128, right? So 128, 2, 64, 2, 32, 2, 16, 2, 2, 2, 2. Same idea. We have a pair of 2's, we have a pair of 2's, we have a pair of 2's, and look at that. We got a lonely 2 that's going to stay in there again, which is the whole idea. We're going to match that one. This will stay in there for this one. So once again, let's take our time here. We have minus, let's make it white. We have minus 5, which was already there, times 2 times 2 times 2 root 2. Explain that again. This 5 was already there. This pair of 2's escaped. This pair of 2's escaped. This pair of 2's escaped. This 2 trapped. This is 50 root 2 minus, and then this is 5 times 2 times 2 times 2. Well, 5 times 2 is 10, times 2 is 20, times 2 is 40. So this is going to be 40 root 2. And then finally the new lesson, right? This is really just review of what we've been doing mostly. That's the hard part, is kind of breaking these things down so that they end up matching. And then really the only thing in the new lesson is to understand is that when you're adding or subtracting two radical things, these under the radicals have to match. 50 root 2 minus 40 root 2 is 10 root 2. Boom. Not too crazy. Let's do one more. Alright, so I added a couple things here. Just want to cover all the different weird things that you might see. You got 3 things now. No biggie. And then I just did a 4th root instead of a square root. We are adding, adding and subtracting, same concept, and these must match. And they don't yet, okay? If these match, then we can combine them together. If they don't match, we can't. So once again, let's start breaking these numbers down and see. We got to see what ends up being left inside of here once we pull out the matching stuff. Only this time it's 4th root, so we're going to need 4 things the same inside of the radical. So let's see, where am I going to have some room here? I'll do them all down here. So 48 is 2, 2, 2, 2, 3. I'll do this in a couple steps again, just so you can see everything that's happening. What's going on here is you had the negative 2 that was already there, and then you have 4 2's right here, which we needed 4 of the same thing in order to do this. So that 4 2's escapes as a 2. And then we have 4th root, and then 3. 4 2's became that 1 2 right there, and then this 3 stayed inside because it didn't have 4 things to make it come out. Square root of 6, Really not a whole lot to do there. You can see obviously 6 is just 2 times 3. You know, there's not 4 things in there. So there's really nothing to do there. So we're just going to rewrite that one for now. And then we got to do 486. That'll stress some of you out, but you can handle it. Okay? It's an even number, so start by dividing by 2. You get 243. And then 243, obviously 2 doesn't go into it, but 3 does. So you get 3, and you get 81. And then that's still 3. Remember, when we do, I'm just giving you a little review of how I showed you how to do these. You notice when I see 81 there, I don't get all excited and put 9 times 9. It's all prime numbers, and I go from the lowest, and I keep doing the low numbers until I have to keep moving up. In this case, 81 is divisible by 3. So 81 divided by 3 is 27. And then that's divisible by 3, and you get 9, and that's divisible by 3, and you get 3. Still a 4th root, and we have 4 3's right here. So we have the 2 that was already there. The 4 3's are going to escape as 1. And then 4th root. And in this case, what we have is we have a 2 that's still stuck inside there and a 3 that's still stuck inside there. You multiply those back together, and it's just a 6. And what's going on here is that these end up being the 2 things that we can combine. This guy here, he doesn't have a buddy. You have a root 3 here, 4th root of 3. But there is no other 4th root of 3's. There's 6's. These will combine. This is just going to tag along for the ride. So we get negative 4, 4th root 3. And then right here, now we could rewrite, let me explain something here too. This is 2 4th root of 6 plus 6 4th root of 6. Now, if you want to rewrite this whole thing just to turn that into a 6, you can, but I'm fine with you doing that in your head and just saying, all right, I know that's a 6. I don't want to rewrite this whole thing again just so I can have another whole step down here. So I see that as 2 plus 6 is 8. Remember, if these match, then we're allowed to combine these 2 things together, and we just add these together. So it's going to be plus 8 4th root 6. And we're done. You're done because you cannot add these together because they have different radicals inside, and there's no way to make them match. You can't take a 6 and break it down. There's nothing to do there to turn it into a 3. The only way to take stuff out of here is if you had 4 of the same thing. Well, we don't have that, and there's no way that 6 is going to create that. So this, even though it's not as pretty as some of the other ones, this is the answer to that problem. That should get you going. I definitely picked some different examples throughout the assignment. So work on that assignment, practice this. Hope that helps. Work hard, be nice. See you soon.